You've got to go in there with the confidence to think you're as good as, if not better than other people. I see a lot of that when people are kind of carrying the perception that they're quite lucky to be interviewed. That's not going to work. You have a right to be there. So when you have a right to be there, it gives you a bit of confidence. And then when you have a bit of confidence, you should be able to think in a few dimensions that I kind of teach people at Meritology. So how do you stand out at that point? So you're kind of ready to do a great interview. What do? You roll around 5 dimensions for me in any interview situation. This is how you stand out for me. First one's memory. So people have a perception of you and you of them when you walk in. So to stand out, you've got to either live up to that or you've got to change it quickly. So if the fact you went to a certain school and a certain university, so I went to a polytechnic, heaven forbid, and I work in a business school, you've got to change that perception. So I've got to immediately say, I went to what's now the University of Portsmouth, one of the top 10 ranked business schools in the UK. I've killed the perception that it's a poly. I didn't even know it's a business school. Yeah, great business school. We have some of the best. You get the idea. There'll be lots of things. Schools you went to, how you look, how you dress, your background, your grades, the subjects you did. Just be aware of what people might be thinking about that, and just be prepared to change that quickly. And again, it's first impression. Then there's emotion. Your ability to manage the emotional state of the person who's interviewing you is the best and worst thing in the entire process you're in. Because if you can't, you're out. If you can, you're in. So you've got to make them feel positively, but it's something to do with both your ability to answer the questions the way they want, to be attentive to them, to show that you're listening. All of that's relevant. You've got to make them feel really special, but also your emotional state is going to it's completely going to get you the result you want, or it's going to undo you. So if you look nervous, seem nervous, they will see that. And there is unfortunately this kind of prehistoric 10,000-year-old, 100,000-year-old problem of something to do with somebody being prey. People respond in a really odd way to that kind of stimulus. So if you look nervous and start sweaty palms, unfortunately people seem to either sympathise with you, you seem like you're being patronised, or they go for you, in which case you don't get the job. Neither of those are very good states to be in. So the emotion, your ability to control your own emotion in the situation and your ability to control theirs, you can influence it, can't you? So the way you answer questions, the kind of the atmosphere you create is entirely in your control. You might think it's in theirs because they're doing the interview. Not my experience at all. You can control that. Then there's results, a little bit more cold and calculating. What results can you deliver for the organisation that you're being interviewed by? But what can you do for them that adds value? Or, probably just importantly, what perception can you create of what you might do for them? And so if you're particularly creative, then that should come across. If you're good at getting things done, it should come across. If you're good at working in a team, get that across, because they can see the value in that and that it will deliver the R of results. Then there's the I, which is innovation, which is what can you change?
Okay.
Not, I'm going to come in and 5 minutes later, I'm going to change your world because everything you do is wrong and rubbish. But if you can innovate, change things, do things differently, prove that you've got the kind of mindset that doesn't take the way it's done for granted and you're always trying to continuously improve, then certainly you'll create a perception that there's something different about you that they like. And innovation as well, the wicked ones. If you can ever get anybody you're being interviewed by to tell you what their wicked problems are, meaning what they really are struggling with, and if you've got any kind of insight into how you might fix that, or any kind of view on a way they might approach it, even if it's only kind of makes a tiny chip away at that wicked problem, you are in really good shape. Even if you enthusiastically say, I'd love to get involved in that, it's good enough, right? Maybe you might be working in an area which was experiencing some problems, some challenges as a business. They might tell you that we need some people, and you might have an example of where you'd handle a tough situation So it might be just pure an interpersonal thing that you've got. It might, as a graduate, it might be something like you have a technical skill. So you'd see that quite like in engineers. I think probably the other one with grads is something you can get across the fact that you've already had a life experience that might help you change something softer about the business. So change, for example, you might have experienced quite a lot of personal change. You might have travelled, you might have been in an expat family, you might have changed lots of schools, moved locations, you might have just got used to that as a person. And if they're experiencing quite a lot of change, your way of thinking about change might be very different. Your ability to cope and thrive in situations when things are all moving around might be much better. They'll be thinking ultimately that person with a bit of training when they've been here 2 or 3 years will be able to take a more responsible management role in a situation we might need them. Everything's kind of time specific. When you go into an interview, sometimes you just realise you're not the right person. And you kind of think, I don't really know why that is, but they don't seem to need me now. It's quite often not to do with you. It'll be something's changed in the background that you don't see. Contrary to that, kind of the flip side of the same coin, sometimes you're just the right person. You breeze in, and the point about standing out is just by being you. This is when you know you've really got it cracked. Just by being you, they think, oh, when can you start? But you kind of think, this is going pretty well. Just really concentrate on MERIT, memory, emotion, results, innovation, and time. Am I doing enough to make them think well of me in my terms of reputation? Am I controlling this as much as I can in the positive way? Am I demonstrating that I can deliver the results they want? If they've got problems, can I help them fix them? And then, is it my time? Am I proving to them that the time is right for me?